Health or hype? I'm going to list a few drinks and you're going to respond. It's got to be quick though.
Okay.
Prime. Coconut water.
Hype.
Huel.
Hype.
Vitamin water.
Oh, hype.
Collagen water.
Hype.
Had you said that? Red Bull.
Hype. It depends what you're looking for, but okay, I'll go hype.
New tonic.
Yeah, I'll go health.
PRCK.
Health, 100%.
Okay, tell us, what is PRCK?
So PRCK is a brand new drink based on prickly pear cactus. Okay, so hence the words PRCK. You could refer to it as prick because you can prick your finger on the cactus. Prickly pear cactus. So the cactus itself, right? That it doesn't grow in Britain, and I'm British. It's a British-based drink. So you may ask, well, how's all that sort of work out? But prickly pear cactus naturally occurs in hot countries. So it's very prevalent in sort of America, Central America, but also in the Mediterranean and over sort of around the equator as well. So you would imagine a cactus, right? So imagine in your mind a bright green cactus, and that's the normal cactus that everyone thinks of, like from the cartoons or from what you may have seen on TV. Now imagine, and this is the difference with the prickly pear cactus, imagine that green cactus has got things stuck to it, which are basically fruits, that are growing out of the cactus. In fact, they grow from the flowers of the cactus and they turn into fruits, like you get apples from an apple tree. So these fruits are called prickly pears. So they're called pears, so they're not pear, right? So it's not like a pear you get from a normal tree. They're called pears just because they're small fruits, okay? And they are very, very prickly, like exceedingly prickly. They're the most prickliest thing you could possibly get your hands on. And don't get your hands on them because they have very, very fine prickles, okay, that can get into your skin and be really annoying. But what we've done with PRCK cactus water is essentially take that fruit, because that's where all the goodness is. Okay, so it's often different colours, but it's anywhere between yellow and purple. And it's those different colours that give you the benefits, all right? So it's a crushed fruit that's been squeezed and concentrated into an extract that gives all those concentrated benefits. That's then brought over to the UK. We then can it in Britain with good old-fashioned British water. Yeah, in fact, Herefordshire water. We put that into a can, add a bit of lemon juice to make sure that you're growing no nasties and everything. Pasteurise it during the canning process. Carbonate it to make it nice and fizzy, but a lightly sparkling fizz. And then that's what you've got in the can.
Okay, great. So finish the sentence. PRCK is for people who...
From a health and hype perspective, PRCK is looking at leveraging these health benefits of the cactus, which have been studied quite widely, right? So who does it help? Many, many people for many reasons, and these are the different ones. So primarily, it's naturally low in sugar, right? And it's got lots of different carbohydrates in there that are not your usual sort of, loads of glucose or things like that. So you've got a mixture of fruit sugars, but also complex carbohydrates that include fiber, soluble and insoluble. So where it helps people is it's helping people who want to have a healthy lifestyle, where you're not looking for something that's sugary or sweetened, and you just want to reduce your calorific intake so that you are just being healthier, in terms of what you take into your body. The other aspect is that the benefits have then been shown with people with diabetes or pre-diabetes, because it is low sugar, low glycemic index as well. It means that people can drink it sort of without guilt and without, importantly, massively affecting their sugar, their blood sugar levels and insulin levels. So you've got that aspect related to the fact that it's low in sugar. And then you've also got one of the key components is that the coloration of the prickly pear means that you've got these molecules in there that are called antioxidants. And what antioxidants do is mop up any of what are referred to as free radicals in chemistry that are produced during exercise, workouts, but even sometimes what we eat, where we live, what you're breathing in, all those type of things. So it reduces that. So that aspect really helps people who are exercising a lot for workout recovery and so forth. So I'd probably say your primary benefits of the people who it's going to help are those that want a healthy lifestyle, those that really have to look at their glucose control, and those that do a lot of active sport because it will help with recovery.
Okay, so it helps a lot of people, and the one I want to focus on is the recovery.
Absolutely.
Performance, because that's what I'm interested in.
Okay.
That's what I hope the audience is also
good
interested in. So, you mentioned a lot of words there that people, it was quite jargony, right? Free radicals and antioxidants.
Yeah, that's my science background. That's sort of the problem.
Exactly. And I don't think that's a problem. I think that actually is quite a good thing, right? Because what you're pushing is science back. Exactly. There's evidence there to suggest actually the benefits we're listing, evidence back, whereas there's a lot of other drinks, we won't say no names, let's not get sued, that they might be pushing these health benefits, but actually, are they science backed? Probably not. So what makes PRCK different from other maybe recovery drinks or health drinks? What makes it stand out, I guess?
Well, the question I'm going to ask you first, right, is name me a recovery drink. Name me a drink that you would have aside from water, right? Because water's water. I mean, no one's going to diss water, Water's water. But if you said, this is what I have as a recovery drink, what do you have?
Chocolate milk.
Okay.
Or maybe I'd probably have an electrolyte drink.
Right. So here, this is the thing. What is meant by an electrolyte drink?
So normally, for me, it would be an effervescent tablet. You drop in water, dissolves. But I guess the ones on the shop floor, on the high street shops, are Lucozade, Gatorade. I don't really know any more than they're like the main ones.
Exactly. Well, you sort of answered the question, right? Is that what makes it different? It exists, right? Because there aren't any other recovery drinks. This is the point, and this is the problem. And whilst you mentioned, there's a lot of talk about. I'm not going to say hype. There's a lot of talk around chocolate milk, and that's fair enough. But think about if you finished a high rocks, if you finished a half marathon or a marathon or even a fast 10K, right? Are you really going to be having chocolate milk? The last thing you want in your stomach after you've, because I work out, I do fitness things. I'm a runner. I do, training, high rocks, etc. And the last thing you want when your body is just going, oh my God, what have I put myself through, is going to be some chocolate milk. Also, are you going to reach for your back pocket and go, hang on a minute, I just need some water because I need to crush up these effervescent tablets and put them in and give it a shake, or even a powder. You need something ready to drink. So there's a whole industry around ready to drink, right? And that's where we sit. We sit in the ready to drink recovery space where you are handed something that you can actually drink and something that is going to hydrate. Also have those electrolytes. So what do we mean by electrolytes? So electrolytes are basically where it's rebalancing the fluids and the elements that you've lost. That could be ions like sodium and chlorine, but it can be minerals as well from sweat and from other things that you've done with workout. So you want to replace that. So the good thing with prickly pear cactus is that has those in there. So it has the minerals, it has vitamins naturally. That's in the plant. So it's naturally in there. So you've got water with it. So you've got carbonated water. So you do still have that hydration, that water intake, and it's not sitting heavily on your stomach. So it is, and we say this sometimes when we talk about it, it is water with significant benefits. You're taking that water, but there are benefits to it.
I like it. And I like that it's natural. That's the key thing that would attract me to it, because a lot of drinks are, got a lot of sweeteners and additives in there, and I'm not really a big fan. I don't know the health implications, short term or long term, of like high intake of additives or sweeteners and stuff like that. So I would definitely be attracted to a natural drink.
Well, I could tell you the pros and cons of that in terms of from a sweetened perspective, from a sugar. So pure sort of sugar, where you often see people say, oh, there's like half a bag of sugar in this, or you've got these grams in this. Sugar is going to cause your bodies to have the the glucose to spike, right? That's going to cause the release of insulin. And if you keep having that sugar and the release of insulin multiple times, you get less sensitive. Yeah, so you get this desensitization to that whole process, and that's how then people can become pre-diabetic and then diabetic. So the long-term problem with sugar is that it's going to have a real problem for your blood sugar regulation that could actually turn into diabetes. So that's like a big no-no. The second thing for sweeteners and other additives in that way, in terms of, because a lot of drink, they have extra components in, like vitamins or things like that. But if you actually drank them as they came, it will taste horrible, right? Because they're actually put in as chemicals, It tastes horrible. So when you've got something bad tasting, you want to try and counter that, don't you? So the drinks manufacturers, they would put in sweeteners. So what's the problem with sweeteners? Well, sweeteners have been found, and increasing evidence is there that they can cause some problems in themselves. So that can be cardiovascular problems. So again, if you're an athlete and if you're working out a lot, you're drinking a lot or taking in a lot of sweeteners, then that can have an adverse effect on your heart and your vessels and everything that's going on in your body. So, the WHO have done a report on sweeteners and really said that artificial sweeteners shouldn't be there. Our government is looking at actually banning that in kids' drinks, because a lot of kids' drinks will have sweeteners in. Because everyone knows no sugar, but nobody's really cottoned on to the fact you shouldn't have sweeteners either. So that's why you're right to think natural, okay?
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, click here to get the full episode. And don't forget to subscribe.